like to welcome you here tonight. We're just a couple of minutes away from getting started. Before we begin, I'd invite you to stand and join me in the pledge, and then Rick Evans will bring the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Dear Father, we thank you again, Lord, for bringing us all here safely, Lord. We pray that you will touch each and every citizen of the city and all of our city workers, Lord. Pray in this time of the year, this season, that you give us all a great, blessed time of the year. Pray that you will touch the agenda tonight, give us all the wisdom that we need to vote for the thing we need to vote for and the way we need to vote. And you never.
Amen. Thank you, Rick. All right, again, welcome to tonight's regular meeting of the Springdale City Council. This is Tuesday, December 12th, 2017. We do have large print agendas over here. Sam's holding them up if that would be helpful to anyone. And that said, I'm going to call the meeting to order and ask Rose to call the roll.
Rick Holver.
Here.
Jeff Watson.
Here.
Mike Overton.
Here.
Holden Colfer.
Here.
Mike Austin.
Here.
Rick Evans.
Here.
Jim Reed. Kathy Jaycox. Here.
And I'm here too.
Mayor Sprout.
That's okay.
Ernest Kate.
I'm here.
Thank you.
All right, we do have a quorum, and we're at item 4, if you're following along on your agenda. And this is the portion of the agenda that the council sets aside each meeting for comments from our citizens. If there is anyone that would like to address the council, please come to the microphone, clearly state your name and address, and please keep your comments brief, and understand that the council will not take action on anything you bring forward tonight. So is there anyone that would like to address the council concerning something that is not on tonight's agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of minutes. Council, you've had access to the minutes for a few days?
I don't have any tonight.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, I see. Item 5. Minutes will be presented
We'll
next
do it
meeting.
next time.
Well, don't you dare approve minutes that have not been presented yet. Thank you. Item 6, procedural motions. What's your pleasure, council?
For A and B.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second for A and B. Roll call, please.
Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Culver.
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
Item 7, Planning Commission report and recommendations. Patsy Christie, Director of Planning. Patsy.
The first item is a rezoning request to rezone 1.88 acres owned by AMW Technology, Luis Sosa. The property is located at 1906 Lowell Road. The request is to rezone it from Light Industrial District I-1 to General Commercial District C2. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the rezoning. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto, by rezoning certain lands from Light Industrial District I-1 to General Commercial District C2 and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Are there any questions or comments concerning this item? Is there anyone in the audience that needs to speak to this one, this rezoning? Okay, seeing none, roll call.
Overton.
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Culver.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
First clause be adopted.
Second.
Fulfer.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Culver.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes. Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
And I will remind you, we bring you forth those with emergency clause because there is some action that needs to be taken on each one of those, okay?
Thank you, Council.
The second one is a rezoning request for 14.99 acres owned by ISC LLC, located at 2200, 2300, and 2400 South Old Missouri Road. The request is to rezone the property from Light Industrial District I-1 to Thoroughfare Commercial District C2 or C5. And Planning Commission recommends approval of this rezoning request. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto by rezoning certain lands from Light Industrial District I-1 to Thoroughfare Commercial District C5 and declaring an emergency.
The ordinance
Yours do pass.
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there further comments or questions about this ordinance? Anyone in the room? Okay, Rose?
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer.
First clause be adopted.
Second.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Both the ordinance and emergency clause carry 7-0.
The next item is a rezoning request for 8.81 acres owned by the Rock of Northwest Arkansas, located on the northeast corner of Don Tyson Parkway and I-49. They are requesting to rezone the property from Institutional District P1 to Thoroughfare Commercial District C5. Planning Commission recommends approval of the rezoning request. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto by rezoning certain lands from Institution District P1 to Thoroughfare Commercial District C5 and declaring an emergency.
Pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Any comments or questions about this rezoning? Anyone in the audience need to speak to this? Okay, Rose?
Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am. Clause be adopted.
Second.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
The next item is a request for a conditional use at 2246 East Robinson Avenue by Rob Moody. This is a request for a use unit 41, which is automobile sales in a general commercial district C2. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the conditional use with the following conditions. Paving and striping required as shown on the site plan. Screening required to the residential units to the north, and landscaping is required on the east and west sides of the property. The title of the resolution reads, a resolution approving a conditional use at 2246 East Robinson Avenue for Rob Moody as set forth in ordinance number 4030.
Resolution do pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to pass the resolution. Any other comments or questions? Anyone in the audience need to speak to this? All right, Rose?
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
The next item is another conditional use request at 1906 Lowell Road for Luis Sosa doing business as AMW Technology LLC. The request is for a use unit 41, automobile sales in a general commercial district C2. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the conditional use with the following conditions. No other business activity at this location other than automobile sales, vehicle storage, inside structure subject to fire code, outside restricted to paved surfaces only. If structure is to be used for auto services, access and parking must be paved. Title of the resolution reads, a resolution approving a conditional use at 1906 Lowell Road for Luis Sosa DBA AMW Technology LLC as set forth in ordinance number 4030.
Pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to pass the resolution. Any other comments or questions?
So can you refresh my memory? I was thinking automobile sales was mostly C5.
It is a conditional use still in a C2 and a C5, but it is permitted in a C6 zone. So that's why you're hearing,
Conditional use in C5
and C2,
and C2
and a permitted use in
Permitted use in
C6,
C6.
which is automotive sales only. Right.
primarily,
Only.
only.
C6, it can be automobile sales and services, and that's it. There's no other
And
uses.
C2 seems to me like it would be a little bit more restrictive than C5. I guess.
C5 has a wider range of commercial uses. We kind of narrowed C2 down and took those things out. You can't do hotel, motel, and entertainment facilities in a C2. They have to be a C5 because they're more of a highway or
So you have to
regional.
come in and ask for a conditional use. And when you ask for that conditional use, certain conditions are placed
Right,
on it.
and it's granted to that person at that location only. It's not transferable. So if this dealer goes out in order to put another car dealership in, they have to come back and ask for another conditional use, not transferable.
Why didn't they apply for a C5? This is the same property as we voted on.
Right.
Well, they were given that option and wanted to go as a conditional use in a C2.
Okay, what's the difference in going conditional use in C2 or C5?
There's not any difference. We can still set the same conditions, whatever we deem as necessary as part of it to go in either one of those.
Just broader uses in C2,
Right.
which would benefit them in the
Yeah.
future if they
Right.
decided
I
not
think-
to use it for automobile
And
sales.
I don't know that I could recommend a C5 at this location because of the other activities that's allowed in a C5. A C2 is a pretty good location for this because it's not on a major highway, yet Randall Welby has a lot of traffic. I don't know that we would want C5 to go that deep into the area. A C2 allows them some commercial activities, and they still get the conditional use for the automotive
That's
service.
still neighborhood commercial.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
presume to speak for the applicant, but it would seem to me that, in answer to Colby's question, that this gives more flexibility later without having to come back and get rezoned.
Right.
If
And
there's
it's
a
already
change
zoned
of it. Yeah.
C2. They didn't have to rezone it. All they had to do is ask for a conditional use for
Right.
this one use. Yeah.
Yeah, we just did.
We just did it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's
Yeah,
right.
we just did it.
Wrong one,
Seconds ago.
wrong
Right.
one, you know. I've got so many in my brain. I thought things
Yeah,
were
it was
slowing down,
I-1.
but they're not, you
Right.
know?
Okay, any other comments or questions for any? Dave, come on up to the microphone and give us your name and,
I'm just gonna leave my stuff here. If it gets in your way, let me know and I'll move it for you.
I couldn't really hear very well. Well, my name's David Gideon, and currently I'm living in Lowell, but we're fixing to move to Springdale. And we have some property out east of Springdale, and I was wondering where exactly the city limits is, because we've got some highway frontage out there, and I was thinking about putting a little used car lot out there, and if I need a permit or something to do that.
I don't know exactly where your property is, Dave. I think you're outside the city limits, but I'm not sure, but you would still be in our planning. You're probably, you don't think he's in our planning zone?
You may be in our planning area, but we don't do conditional uses for zoning outside the city limits.
Right. The best option, there's a lot of nuances to that, so just come in and talk with us. Just come in and talk with Patsy, and she can bring your property up on a aerial, and we can kind of see what,
Okay.
And if it's outside the city limits in Washington County, you'll have to go to the county planning board
right.
to get a conditional use for it, not to us.
Okay.
Okay? But if
Yeah.
you come see me, I'll be in the office tomorrow, but I'll be in Thursday if you come see me first.
Okay.
Yeah, good deal.
All right.
Thanks, Dave. Any other questions or comments? All right, Rose, we're ready.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
The next item is a conditional use for a tandem lot split for parcel number 815-308560000. Planning Commission reviewed this request for a tandem lot split, and the lot split document itself recommends approval of the tandem lot split. Title of the ordinance reads, "A resolution approving a conditional use for parcel number 815-308560000 for Stephen Payorta and Mary Gillahan as set forth in ordinance number 4030. And that shouldn't have a 3 in front of that parcel number because,
Now therefore
yeah,
needs to be.
yeah, we
changed.
need to fix that. I didn't catch that today, but we'll get that corrected. Where's the other one?
Resolution to pass.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any questions? Anyone? Okay, Rose?
Fulfer, Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans, Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes. Carry 7-0.
And the last item is an ordinance accepting a final plat for Phase 2D of Legendary Subdivision. Planning Commission reviewed this final plat, recommends approval. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance accepting the final plat of Phase 2D of Legendary Subdivision to the City of Springdale, Arkansas, declaring an emergency.
Second.
Have a motion, and a second, right across from our park property. Anyone? Okay.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
First clause be adopted.
Oh, second.
Rose?
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver, Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Emergency clause carries 7-0.
All right. Item 8, Ordinance Committee Report and Recommendations. Chairman Mike Overton. Mike?
Unfortunately, Mayor, the ordinance committee met without benefit of my inspirational guidance, so I'll have to turn that over to someone else that handled it in more inferior fashion.
Did you do that, Rick? Who did that?
Jeff did.
Jeff?
Colby.
Colby did it. Colby did it,
Colby
okay.
did.
Yeah, that was.
You wanna take
Remember
these?
how much we bragged about how smooth it ran?
Ordinance committee meeting we've ever had. I wasn't able to wax eloquence like our here, but I will go ahead and head this one up. The ordinance committee met last Monday, discussing and amending section 4293E of the Code of Ordinance, the City of Springdale, Arkansas, and declaring emergency for other purposes. And this had to do with the way we handle the removing of the graffiti. And Ernest might be able to speak to this better than any of us.
Yeah, this is just tweaking it a little bit to make sure it's set forth that in cases where immediate removal of the graffiti is deemed necessary, that we don't always have to wait the 24 hours to remove it. The best example I can use is if it's a privacy offense, say across the street from an elementary school with something obscene spray painted on it, they can go ahead and once it's documented for the police, it can go ahead and be removed.
I move ordinance passed. Second.
Okay. Any further questions or discussion?
What was the original intent of 24-hour waiting period? Wanted to make sure, number one, that it was properly documented for the police department before it was removed. Plus, we wanted to give property owners the option to remove it themselves as opposed to the city coming in and removing it.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay, Rose?
Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am. Second.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Not sure there's true emergency, but I'll vote no.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer, Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox,
Yes.
It's carries 7-0. Emergency clause carries 6-1.
And the second item we had was, looked at the ordinance, an ordinance for repealing section 82-2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency and for other purposes. And the committee did recommend this for, this deals with some of the panhandling issues and how we handle that in the City of Springdale, and Ernest will be able to speak to that.
This is being done out of an abundance of caution at the advice of the Arkansas Municipal League. As you know, there's several lawsuits going on right now with other cities, not including Springdale, regarding their panhandling ordinances. We had gone back earlier this year and changed our panhandling ordinance to remove some what we thought might be questionable language or challengeable language. But the advice is now that we repeal it in its entirety. And this doesn't mean that we can't enforce laws, people going in the road, so on and so forth. There are state laws on the books already that the police department's already using instead of what was in our ordinance. So basically what this is doing is changing it on paper, but it's not going to impact what the police department has been doing in these situations. It would only be until such time as there's a resolution to the pending lawsuits and we get some guidance as to what proper language would be for ordinance. Then we'll bring one back.
Orders do pass.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Any further questions or comments? Anyone? Okay.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
First clause be adopted.
Second.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer, Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
All right, item 9, Personnel Committee Report and Recommendations. Chairman Kathy Jaycox. Kathy?
This is a resolution amending Section 5.5 of the Personnel and Procedures Manual for the City of Springdale, Arkansas. It's simple. We're adding an additional holiday. Gina, would you like to speak to this, please? Proposing to add an additional holiday.
This is to add a 12th holiday to the City of Springdale employees. That puts us in line with other cities in the Northwest Arkansas area that also have 12 holidays. And funding for this holiday has been provided for in the 2018 budget.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
We do, what do we do on Christmas Eve? Christmas is on a Monday.
Christmas
Like
is
this
on
year.
Christmas. Still get the 2 days off, Monday and Tuesday.
We're doing Monday and Tuesday.
Right.
Right. Not Friday.
Yeah.
We'll see how many people show up on Friday, but we'll.
On Friday, you mean?
I got a feeling Friday will be a little thin, but we're going to be open. So, but Monday and Tuesday will be our holidays. Any other questions? I don't think we got a second.
Oh, second.
Okay.
But there was a second, but
Okay.
if not,
We do now.
consider there a second.
All right. Any other comments or questions? If not, roll call, please.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
Thank you, Gina. Item 10, I'm going to turn it over to Ernest. He's just gave me some information on that.
This item has been requested to be pulled at the request of the building inspection department as they have come into full compliance. So there's no action needed by the council on this particular raise and removal ordinance.
Okay?
We need a motion, or are we just, okay.
Just don't take any, no need to take any action.
We just don't need to take any action.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. If there's no further action needed on that, then we'll move to item 11. Street and CIP Committee Report and Recommendations. Chairman Rick Evans. Rick?
Last week at the Street and CIP Committee, we got a resolution authorizing the grant, have a water sewer easement for the across property owned by the City of Springdale, Arkansas, along Silent Grove Road, Washington County, Arkansas. For construction of a sewer line to tie into the sewer plant.
Move the resolution pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Anyone? Okay, Rose?
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer.
Carry 7-0.
Item 12, Finance Committee Reports and Recommendations. Jeff Watson.
Finance Committee met and considered this resolution. It's a resolution amending the land acquisition policy. Made some changes to our policy. The resolution was recommended for approval. What was the purpose of this, Ernest? Do you remember?
It's going to help streamline the process when the bond issue passes and get ready to do a lot of these well-needed projects. It'll help streamline the process as far as acquiring property and then later on down the road as far as coming to a resolution on the ones that have to go to condemnation.
How will it streamline it?
It's going to streamline as far as the consideration of counteroffers. actually, on the front end, it would streamline because it would give authority to go ahead and file eminent domain proceedings on ones that don't agree.
Accept our offer.
Accept our offer. It allows us to get that file quicker instead of having to come back and get separate authorization for each one, which does take
Which
time.
makes sense.
And then on the back end, regarding the consideration of, still would come back to city council for consideration, but as far as getting to that point,
They would, I think, they would have to meet certain criteria, really criteria that's already in our land acquisition policy. Before Ernest, the city attorney and the mayor would then, those things that we believe met that criteria, we would bring it back to council.
it offers some clarification, because before, in the policy where it said increases in offers, it said if the city believes after investigation that the counteroffer possesses merit, then it's brought forward. Well, that was a little unclear, and now it uses the word mayor, makes it a little bit more clear. A little more vetting before it comes to you all, which we did, like the mayor said, we did anyway, but this just clarifies it in the policy itself.
One question, Ernest. When you talk about investigation, what does that exactly mean?
Well, investigation will be based on whatever written documentation they provide to us, whether it's a written appraisal, sometimes they have a tree appraisal, sometimes they have an engineer's report, anything, and those it's spelled out in the land acquisition policy, and it has to be written. They can't just come in and say, in my opinion. They got to have some sort of written justification. Like I said, it's pretty much what we're doing now. It's just
I
clarifying.
understand.
the
I didn't
policy.
know if under that word a definition had changed, which is why I was asking.
No.
Okay. All right. Did we get a second? We didn't get a first. Okay.
Resolution be adopted.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Any further comments or questions? Anybody? Rose?
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Item 13, Police and Fire Committee report, and Chairman Rick Culver. Rick?
We met last Monday, and the first item we have is the ordinance to waive competitive bidding for purchase of some rifles. And it was recommended that we pass this to the council for approval. And Chief's here if we need to
I'll
have
move
him
the
speak
ordinance
to
pass.
this.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any questions for Chief Peters?
I have a question. Why not have American-made rifles?
Well, the last rifles that we purchased were over $1,200, and these are just over $8. They're high-quality rifles.
Do these, do the FN magazines, will a typical AR magazine fit in an FN weapon?
It's my understanding that they will.
We don't know for sure.
Well, yes, we're going to keep the magazines we have. We're not going to buy
We
magazines
know,
for these.
we know that they'll,
I was told by our armorers that they'll fit.
armors, that they're compatible. And with, is it necessary to have add-on sights, or the factory sights
These-
adequate?
We have to put sights on these rifles.
And are they, I couldn't tell, what kind of sights, are they red dot,
No.
basically?
No, we're just putting iron sights on these rifles.
Okay, but they don't come with,
They don't come with sights.
okay, but adding, what is it, $150 for sights?
I think so, yes.
Plus the cost of the rifle, and that's still cheaper than an American-made rifle?
It's a lot cheaper than the ones we purchased in the past that were of similar quality.
Okay. What kind do we have in the past?
Um,
Smith?
The last ones we purchased were, no, I forgot. I can't remember.
Rock Island?
I'll get it to you tomorrow.
That doesn't matter, I'm just curious why we'd gone with a Belgium
Yeah.
manufacturer.
We bid them last time, and We came up with a different rifle. It was over $1,200.
But the other departments that have used the FNs are,
Washington County just purchased, this is a competitive bid that Washington County did, and they bought, I think, around 40 of these. And they're very happy with them. They gave us one to try out, and they seemed
no
very solid.
malfunction, you didn't find any problem with? Okay,
No.
just curious.
Sure.
Okay, good, thank you. Anything else?
Do we not have to amend the budget for that?
It's a grant.
It's a grant for the funds.
Into the budget though, and then take it out?
Well, I don't know about that.
Oh, we did, but I
No.
don't know that, Mike.
Well, in the past, we haven't. Well, you're right, we have, too.
Is there a need for a budget amendment?
You're right.
Wyman
we
here.
have.
Okay. All right. We had a motion and a second. Okay, Rose?
Jaycox?
Yes.
Culver?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Fulfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am. Emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
Culver?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Fulfer? Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Both the ordinance and emergency clause carry 7-0.
Okay, and then the next thing we had on the agenda was a resolution authorizing the execution of a vehicle lease agreement for the police department. And I'll let the chief explain if there's any.
In our budget, we put money in there to lease vehicles. Enterprise has a government contract, so we don't have to go to bid to this. And I need your permission to enter into a contract to lease those vehicles.
Resolution passed.
Second.
Okay, any more questions or comments? Okay,
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Fulfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Culver?
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
okay. And I think, Rick, either you or I think it might have been Jeff, we want to be sure on, I think it was January 2nd committee meeting, that we discuss how to move forward on purchasing vehicles.
Transfer funds out of CIP into vehicle fund for the
Yeah,
police
just need to
department.
decide how you want to spread those out if you do, and how many you want to purchase this year and that kind of thing. So we'll discuss that at committee. I just want to be sure and get that so we don't forget to get that on there. Probably already had it, but item 14, Wyman, you need to, so I'll read it. This is a resolution authorizing the destruction of old accounting records.
We only have one council member with extensive
Experience.
experience supervising.
It is
just
just
other records.
a crown I wear.
Do we still have to do that the same way?
No,
We don't have to have anybody watch that?
Yeah, there's shows on there, you got 2 people.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Oh, really?
Move the resolution be adopted, and
Second.
Kathy be the one to get to watch
Well,
it.
depending
Second.
on the schedule, when does this have to be done? Does anybody know?
At your
your convenience.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
thank
the
you.
resident expert.
Thank
You
you.
have more experience than
line
anybody.
it all up.
Yes.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for
Anytime.
the
Volunteer.
motion. Did we get a second?
Yes.
Okay.
Volunteering.
Okay, Rose?
Overton?
Yes.
Fulfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Culver?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
All right, any comments from department heads? Council?
Mayor, you might explain how we're gonna do our meetings in January for everyone.
Yeah, I may have to cheat here and look at I think it tells at the top.
That's why I passed it along to you.
Yeah, I know that, of course, there will be no further committee meetings or a second city council meeting this month. So Tuesday, January 2nd will be the next committee meeting, and then council would be the following Tuesday. I guess that would be the 9th. Correct? All right.
And then
Thank
our
you, Rick.
Then we did our second meeting, it was on a holiday, and we moved it to Tuesday also.
Right, yeah, that committee meeting, the January 2nd meeting is on a Tuesday because, obviously, January 1 is a holiday. But we wanted, I think the committee wanted to keep that period of time between
Yeah,
the
and
committee
then
meeting and the council
15th is
meeting.
on a Monday, which Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King.
And didn't we move it to the 16th also?
We talked about that.
Yeah,
I think we did.
I think we did.
So that'll be the 16th.
Yes.
So both committee meetings, it'll be the first and third Tuesday of
So we'll have
January.
meetings first,
Yeah.
second, third, and fourth Tuesdays
Right.
in January.
Okay. I don't have anything except Merry Christmas to everybody. So, and,
Move to be adjourned.
Second.
motion and a second. All those in favor say
Aye.
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 We're adjourned. Thank you.